Hello and welcome back, and today I want to talk about a new range of Synology branded SSDs. Now, for a long time, network attached storage could largely be separated into two different forms of attitude to media. Namely, you've got your unpopulated NAS and your populated NAS. You had brands like Synology and a few others like QNAP and a few other ones on that kind of side of the field where their units arrive unpopulated. You've got your CPU, your memory, your ports, your chassis and the software all included, but you've got to buy your own media. And on the other side of the field, you've got brands like Buffalo and Netgear. These are brands that arrive with either full or partial pre-populated NAS. And these are ones where the hard drives they pick, generally Seagate Iron Wolf or WD Red, pre-installed inside their devices, so you buy a complete unit that technically costs more because it's got the drives included. But Synology has always been a brand that's always given you their solutions with no drives inside for you to kind of pick and choose your own. Now, this is extended way beyond that of simple hard drives into the form of SSD, with once again Synology arriving with solutions that not only support solid-state drives in 2.5-inch and M2 and NVMe M2 form, but also arriving with the option of you picking the drives that go inside. And along with other brands that have produced their solutions that have got the drives pre-installed. But Synology have now got their own range of branded SSDs coming. Now, whether this is going to be rebadged SSDs or they're going to be heavily involved in the manufacture, I don't know at this stage. But the evidence I'm getting points to the fact that it's going to be 2.5-inch SSDs and NVMe level SSDs. Now, first and foremost, I think it's pretty clear that much like Synology branded memory and Synology branded network interface cards, their own range of Synology branded SSDs will almost certainly be just for caching. Of course, you're going to be able to use it for raw storage in the case of the 2.5-inch media, but in NVMe SSD form via M2, the PCIe connection there, the majority of Synologies that support this functionality do not give it to you in any other form but caching. Read-only caching and read-write caching, depending on a RAID 0 or RAID 1 configuration inside. Now, the model IDs are SNV-3400-400G, which I assume relates to a 400 gig NVMe SSD, which is a weird capacity. I'm sure there's going to be another extension of that range, but in terms of the 2.5-inch SATA media, it's slightly different. We've got a 480, a 960, and a 1.2 terabyte SSD. So again, that's going to be 2.5-inch SATA-based SSD, Synology branded SSDs. Now, why would they go into this field? Well, it's pretty obvious when you think about it. When it comes to buying a NAS, you know, Synology are still pretty much up there as some of the top tier brands out there, but you're still kind of buying your hard drives and your SSD from companies like WD and Seagate and Samsung and SanDisk and stuff like that. So with this evolution of Synology introducing their own branded accessories onto their series of devices, I think it's only natural that we finally saw them making the moves into having their own SSD media. Now, I said at the top of this video, you've got to take this with a little pinch of salt, because we've seen a lot of ideas being thrown around, and a few of these things get leaked to me about Synology products that could potentially come in the future. Some of them never end up happening. Others get rebranded or rebadged or moved into other series devices, and therefore their names change. Classic example, DS619 Slim turning into the DS620 Slim. It doesn't make them any less you know, of a great product. It just means their series might change, and with the evolution of a company, some products just don't make the cut. I mean, the information I've got so far is still pretty good, I've got to say. And then on top of that, it's the idea at the moment that we're seeing a lot of changes in the release schedule from a lot of NAS brands, and Synology themselves, from what I'm seeing, are no different. We're seeing a lot of products not being released when we thought they were going to come. Look at the DS220J. That got a little bit of a delay in different areas of the world, and we're still waiting on a Desktop Plus series of the 2020. Meanwhile, we're seeing some product IDs change. We're seeing ones like the one we spoke about last year, the DS1620XS. We're now seeing a 21 series version, and it's only March. So I think things like, you know, coronavirus and how it's affecting manufacturing plants out there in the East that they're maybe preemptively shutting them down to stop the spread of an outbreak, or they're running at lower production. These things all play their part. But I do think a range of SSDs from Synology is not only a sensible move of their own rebadged or rebranded, or even ones that they're involved in manufacture being a very good idea, but I do think it's something that is going to happen, and I'm surprised it took this long. And if you look at their attitude towards their own memory upgrades, they've always been very, very keen to highlight to end users that you should be using official Synology memory. Even if you use non-official but supported memory that is in the capacity limit, chances are your NAS will highlight to you that you're using unofficial memory. And I can't see why this same logic couldn't potentially be moved into having their own branded SSDs. Because some of you might view it as, oh, I don't like the idea of being forced to do it. But you're not being forced. That's important. If they did go down this road, what's interesting is then you've got that extra degree of confidence. You've got that extra degree of coverage from them within your warranty. So again, what are your opinions to this? Do you think this is something that should happen or something that could happen? Do let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, click like. And if you do want to learn more about this and more about Synology in 2020, then do click subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.